Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack. Now, a couple of days ago, Blizzard did a fun experimental mode update where they gave a bunch of heroes changes. A whole 27 heroes where admittedly they gave some silly changes, some unnoticeable changes, admittedly useless changes, but also some very fun changes where they gave heroes like Torbjorn 2 turrets or Soldier 76 2 helix rockets, you know, stuff like that. And it was all in preparation for the experimental tournament held by the Overwatch League, which I still think is the worst name that you could ever give an official tournament held by Blizzard. But the whole idea of this tournament to begin with was just for fun. Yeah, they gave some goofy changes to heroes, like with Torbjorn specifically, giving him 2 turrets, and there were even some stupid changes that were completely worthless, like Winston getting 15 extra armor and 15 less health, or even some confusing changes like with Pharah and Lucio, where they gave Pharah a new passive ability, and Lucio's like circle of sound or whatnot got less effective the farther you were away. It was very confusing. But even though there were a bunch of goofy changes for heroes, y'all have to remember that there were a total of 27 heroes that received at least one change, and some of them had to be good, right? And that's what I wanted to do in today's video, was to talk about the changes that I think should be kept for live servers. But even though this is my video where I take the form of Jeff Kaplan to decide Overwatch's fate, I want you to comment down below what experimental change you really like from this update. If you guys don't know what changes were in this update to begin with, make sure you go check out my video where I look at every single change that came with this update. But here are some of the changes that I think that should be kept in Overwatch. Now, the first change that I want to be kept in Overwatch is Baptiste's change. Now, when it comes to his self-healing ability, don't really care about that nerf too much. Yeah, it would be nice because he is pretty OP when it comes to a group setting. But the immortality field, I think, is one of the biggest changes in here that needs to be kept, all because immortality field is the biggest cockblock ability in the game. Because what y'all gotta realize is that this is a regular ability that admittedly has a large cooldown, but can counter so many ultimate abilities in the game. When it comes to ultimates countering ultimates, that's okay, because that's how Overwatch has always been. You take Zarya's grab, it get countered by Zenyatta's ultimate. You take Dragon Blade from Genji, and Reinhardt can easily solo shatter him, and it's no more. But Baptiste's immortality field is the biggest cock block for so many things. Not just ultimates, it's just an annoying ability to have to deal with, because you think you get an enemy low, and then here comes a discs, and it's like, oh, I guess I gotta take that out, and by that time, Baptiste already heals them up. At least with this change, with having only 1 health, it's a more likely chance that you will be able to kill that enemy, especially when it comes to tanks, man. Bastion is the next hero whose change I want to be kept in Overwatch on the sole idea that Bastion is the worst hero in the game right now. That's not coming from an opinion standpoint, it's coming from a statistical standpoint, and I don't think a lot of people would argue that idea. Now, do I think the speed boost bonus that he gains whenever he uses his self-healing ability is going to be a game-changing bonus? No, come on now, let's be real here. He's still gonna be a bad hero, but we need buffs to make Bastion a somewhat viable hero by himself. Because you wanna know when Bastion is good? During the pirate ship comp, on Junkertown, or on Dorado, or on maps that require a payload to help him move throughout the map so that he can stay in his turret form, because that makes him the most vulnerable, but also the most deadly. We should really be looking to buff Bastion ways that make him good on his own, but not really too OP when he's in a group setting. And in this case, yeah, a speed boost ability doesn't really break the pirate ship comp because, oh, he can get away from the payload that is moving him. No, he's better by himself. Now he's able to get away from situations where the enemy team could be focusing him. But the next change I want kept in Overwatch is the best change in this whole entire update. It makes this hero viable. It makes this hero S tier. It makes this hero borderline broken. It's Mei's ammo change. Hey, this is my video and I get to decide what is kept, because after constant nerfs, Mei needs something. So obviously that was all sarcasm. This isn't gonna make Mei OP. Anybody that is dying by Mei in this current state is just a bad player. A good player can find a way to not get frozen by their primary freeze, either by using a cooldown or managing it well to where they can escape it, knowing that there's a Mei, or not overextending so they don't get trapped by the wall. You know, stuff like that. I get it that it's annoying to face against the Mei, but you shouldn't be easily frozen by her because she's just been nerfed to the ground. So when it comes to this ammo increase, what's going to allow main players like myself be able to do is obviously have 2 extra shots, but have a little bit more reliance on the primary freeze, because the primary freeze is already so bad. So if we just have a little bit of extra ammo to be able to freeze the feeding Hammond, I think it'll make her a tiny bit more viable, because in this state, you might as well just use a Sombra or McCree to stop the Hammond, or other heroes that you need to be stopped in their tracks. The Edgelord is up next because I might want to get his voice line removed when he uses his Shadow Step. This has always been a big meme because the Shadow Step ability was supposed to be this sneaky flank-like ability, but it's an oxymoron type of ability because every single time you use it, he's always like, "Death comes! Hey guys, I'm over here! Can't you hear me sneaking behind you? Hey, hey, hey!" But what this change basically does is double down on what makes Reaper good. Which, a reminder, there's not a lot of good things that come with Reaper. Really, the best thing about him is that he is somewhat of a decent flank hero. He can hang with the Doomfist, the Tracers, and the Genjis because he does have his Wraith form ability that could get him out of sticky situations, i.e. in the enemy back line. And while it isn't required to flank with Reaper, I just feel like nowadays there's so many abilities that stop the initial burst damage from Reaper, and you have to get up close and personal with the enemy, that if you get too close, yeah, you aren't even going to be able to use your get out of jail free card with the Wraith form ability and exit out of there. At least with flanking behind, you can be a little bit safer, get the leg up on them, and possibly get a kill or two with the initial burst damage before the enemy team even knows you're there. And once they do know you're there, then you just Wraith form out of there. With the voice line getting removed, it just has a more likely chance of that scenario happening and not alerting the enemy team. But the next change I want kept in Overwatch is going to be one that involves an ultimate nerf, and this is something that I don't really agree with a lot of the time because an ultimate should be, well, an ultimate. It should be powerful. So when we look at REINHARDT's Earthshatter, I like the idea of it, but I want to mess around with the numbers. I like the idea that the farther you are away from the Earthshatter equator determines the amount that you are stunned. The closer you are to the Earthshatter, the longer you're stunned. The farther away you are, the shorter that you're stunned. It's pretty simple. But when it comes to the duration, it's 3 seconds all the way to 2.5 seconds respectively. It's not that much of a variable for you to notice it in game. So I thought we can make this change beneficial for all parties, not only REINHARDT players, but also people that are getting stunned. Let's say the closer you are to the Earthshatter, like right next to it, you're stunned for maybe 4 seconds, and the farther away you are, you're stunned for like 1.5 seconds. And the time that you are stunned varies from 4 seconds to 1.5 seconds, depending on how far away you are from REINHARDT. The whole idea of this change is so that you can respect REINHARDT's Earthshatter the closer you get to him, but it also protects people that are being somewhat smart and staying in the back, but has to move the payload, but has to move with their team. Be it like an Ana, a Mercy, or even a Soldier 76 if he's not on the high ground. Because there's no worse feeling than you playing somewhat smart, being in the back line, but getting the same punishment as someone who's overextending past the REINHARDT shield, or your own REINHARDT getting outplayed by their REINHARDT. Because again, I want the enemy REINHARDT to be rewarded with getting a good Earthshatter and it not getting blocked, but I don't want to be punished all because, well, I'm in the back line and I have no other way to protect myself because what, I gotta be 50 feet away? No, that's not realistic. But again, this is just an idea for REINHARDT, and in fact, it might even be an OP idea that makes REINHARDT a must-pick hero on both sides because, well, REINHARDT is really the only hero besides Orisa and Fortifying her shield that could counter Earthshatter that is so good to the point where you can't play up front and then REINHARDT can be super aggressive and still get a massive Earthshatter for anybody that is close to him in tickle distance. So the next change is for a hero that I don't think needs desperate changes to make him better. He's definitely not a good hero by any stretch of the imagination, but he can have his moments, is involving Torbjorn and his 2 turrets. Now, a big reason why I chose this change to be kept in Overwatch is because it's fun. You know, who wouldn't want 2 little turrets scurrying around in the battlefield? But while these changes aren't supposed to be fun, they're supposed to be actually helpful and engaging for the hero. That's the exact idea with this change. It makes Torbjorn a little bit more engaging with an ability that makes Torbjorn, his turrets. The idea of Torbjorn right now is that you throw your turret and you forget about it. And that was the whole idea of making his turret how it is right now, was not a ball and chain type of ability. Because beforehand, you would throw down your turret, you would have to use your hammer, it would take time, and then if it got shot out, it would take even longer. Here, it builds itself up, and that's about it. But I feel like when you give Torbjorn 2 turrets that is at half efficiency, or 40% technically, you're going to be a little bit more smarter with where you place your turrets. And the better Torbjorn players are going to be able to find those turret spots that are so OP to the point where, yeah, it might have half health or 40% health, and it might be doing 40% less damage, but it doesn't matter because it's not getting destroyed. The enemy team isn't focusing it, and you're just going to be able to build up more ultimate charge and be a better Torbjorn. That's the whole idea with this change. Well, yes, it is fun. It's a little bit more efficient for good Torbjorn players that spend a lot of time with him, which is isn't a lot, admittedly. But the final changes that I want kept in Overwatch is coming from the gerbil himself, Hammond. Now, while yes, the size reduction, the ammo reduction, and also the grappling cooldown increase is a nice change, what I really want kept is this adaptive shield change. No longer prevents enemies from generating ultimate charge, meaning that while there is a feeding Hammond that's just going to be in the enemy backline using the adaptive shield, if you shoot that Hammond, you should be rewarded no matter how much shield he has. Yes, that might mean that good Hammond players are going to get punished for doing what Hammond's all about, which is getting in the mix of things, getting his hands dirty, and basically feeding. I feel like if you're going to be feeding, you should be feeding the enemy at least something to eat. Bad Hammond players are going to be punished, and good Hammond players, I feel like, are going to find a way to adapt with the adaptive shield. I'm so sorry. I don't know. This is just one of those changes where it punishes bad and good players, which is never a goal when it comes to changes, but I also feel like it rewards good players way too much. A way to balance it is to reward the enemy team that is shooting the rewarded Hammond by getting shield and protection. And some honorable mentions that I figured I would round off the video with is Ana's change, specifically her nano boost ability. The only problem with this is that this is Overwatch, and I feel like every single Ana would literally just nano boost herself in competitive, and it would basically make her a toxic pick. Another change I wanted to mention is Echo's change. Well, I do think it's a little bit cheap that you are able to get a full pool of health, even though you had 5 health right before you used your adaptive ultimate ability. I don't know, I feel like that allows the team to be aggressive. We kind of need that in Overwatch. Allow teams to feel like they can be aggressive because that brings the most fun side of Overwatch, being aggressive and getting kills and getting rewarded for your efforts. And Lucio's change. The only reason why I didn't want to include this in the main part of the video is because I feel like it's a little bit confusing. And the whole idea of Overwatch is that it's supposed to be simple. This should be baby's first FPS game, and when it comes to his effectiveness, when it comes to the crossfade, it's just very weird. I don't want to have to be doing math like, oh, I am 7 meters away, but if I drop back 2 meters, then the effectiveness drops by 13%. I don't want to do that, okay? I want it to be the same at all angles for Lucio's heal song and his speed boost ability, because I want to make heroes go fast, and I want to heal heroes, and I don't want to have to be doing any sort of math. And those are my changes that I think should be kept in Overwatch. But as always, let me know what you think should be kept in Overwatch. Do you think Genji's Dragon Blade change should be kept? Do you think Mercy's Guardian Angel reset should be changed? Or do you think Winston's armor and health change should be changed? You know, F it. Just throw that in for the memes. I don't care. 15 extra armor. What good will that do? But I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.